Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones. It's tournament time as the bracket was revealed on Sunday. Purdue tips off a little after noon, getting it started early on Thursday, playing High Point as a 4 seed out in Providence, Rhode Island. Lots to talk about there. We'll talk a little bit about the Big Ten tournament, but that focus has moved on to the NCAA tournament now. Talk about where Purdue's at going in. Obviously, Purdue's been feeling better about itself heading into NCAA tournaments before. We'll talk about everything today. We're going to talk some about Purdue's offense, some big picture NCAA tournament thoughts, all the good stuff, guys. It's one of the best weeks of the year. It's Monday night here about 8:30. We get a little appetizer the next two nights, and then Thursday and Friday. If you're a basketball fan, it doesn't get better than this. Let's get this week off started. If you don't, follow the show on Twitter, @BoilersBeyond. Come talk ball with us all day, Thursday, Friday, all through the weekend, all through the tournament. You'll want to be subscribed there because we're talking Purdue sports all year long. And make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss a thing. Once this season ends, we're not done talking. We will be coming at you all summer, and I will have an episode up after the High Point game, regardless of how it goes. You can probably plan on that thing late Thursday, if not Friday morning. It'll be in your feed at the absolute latest. But another thing new this year as well, bracket challenge on ESPN bracketology for listeners of the podcast on ESPN Tournament Challenge. I will post the link in the show description here, but it is Boilers and Beyond listeners. Open group, don't need a password. Winners, maybe we'll do some free merch. We got some t-shirts to hand out. Maybe we'll do a guest episode on the show. Who knows? But go join that bracket group now, so that we can have some fun there here throughout the next couple of weeks. Purdue's a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Purdue is playing High Point. It's High Point's first NCAA tournament appearance ever. It is far from Purdue's. In general here, big picture, I thought Purdue might get down to the 5 line. It certainly seemed to be trending that way. Purdue had a less than ideal end of the season. It seems to really mean a lot when you have a big strength of schedule number, and Purdue does have 7 quad 1 wins. Those numbers play pretty well. Purdue really challenges itself in the non-conference schedule. Purdue had a difficult Big Ten schedule with some difficult road games. You look at Purdue playing Oregon on the road, Purdue playing Illinois on the road. Those two are 6 seeds. Maybe Oregon's a 5. Wisconsin came to Mackey, Michigan State on the road, Michigan on the road. Purdue played some really tough road games. I think that probably helped. Purdue only had 1 loss outside of Quadrant 1, that being the home loss to Ohio State was on the first 4 out. There wasn't a whole lot of real damaging stuff on that resume. I think when you combine a pretty clean resume with the strength of schedule, it helped Purdue stay at the top, stay at the 4 seed line, because Purdue finished 14th overall. Purdue was the number 2 4 seed in the committee's eyes, so this wasn't really all that much of a question. The criticism about the Big Ten tournament not mattering is at an all-time high. Michigan getting the 5 seed's kind of ridiculous, but it does reflect what we've seen in years past, where the Big Ten tournament doesn't mean a whole lot. I don't know why we're surprised about it every year, but that's kind of how this always is. It's the same stuff every year. We just all complain about it every year because we love it. Michigan kind of got screwed there a little bit. Look, this is the 8th consecutive tournament of Purdue getting a 4 seed or better, and that stat absolutely deserves an asterisk because Purdue was not getting a 4 seed or better back in 2020. It was going to need to win like 3 games in the Big Ten tournament to have a chance at getting in. That team wasn't very good. But that tournament got canceled, so the stat lives on with a little bit of an asterisk. Oh well, doesn't hurt anybody. Take the stat when you can get it. It speaks pretty highly, though, of what Purdue has accomplished over the last decade or so. This goes back to Little Rock, I think, 2016, right? Sounds right. At least 2017, because that was a 4 seed that played Vermont in the first round. But no, Purdue's done a lot of really good things here recently. Purdue has put itself in a position to advance in the tournament. We'll talk a little bit about Purdue and what it's doing momentarily, but it speaks pretty well about the expectations that are on Purdue too, because Purdue's coming in as a 4 seed. Purdue's coming on 22-11 overall against a pretty salty strength of schedule, ranked 9th in the country on KenPom, and there's quite a bit of panic ensuing around Purdue's fans, around the temperature check around the program. And look, Purdue comes in losing 6 of 9, and there's no other way around it. This is not how you want to be playing at this time of year. Everyone wants to be feeling like they're on the upswing going into the NCAA tournament. And the objective reality here is that that's not the case for Purdue. The Big Ten tournament pair of games, squeaking one out against Southern Cal and a pretty decisive loss to Michigan, not exactly confidence-inspiring. Now, if you look at the advanced metrics, some of the shot quality stuff from the Michigan game, Purdue got good looks. It just wasn't making them. But you're in single elimination now. If you get good looks and aren't making them, you're going home and your season is over. It wasn't a good month to wrap up the regular season. The defensive problems here are not likely to solve themselves. 88 points to Illinois, 86 points to Michigan, 94 points to Wisconsin, 75 to Michigan State's quite a bit. You give up 81 to Iowa, which is what it is, 76 at home to Indiana. Some of these numbers aren't particularly good. And you've seen Purdue's defensive efficiency numbers really balloon over this time. Purdue is now 63rd in the nation in defensive efficiency. It's not great, especially when you look at Purdue's tempo numbers, because Purdue doesn't play all that quickly. All you need at this point is to be a little bit better on the margins, because there aren't any secrets this time of year. There's no magic wand that you're going to wave and you're going to have a completely different team than what you had in the first 33 games. It doesn't work like that. You are what you are to a degree. One thing that could matter, could less familiarity from opponents be an advantage from Purdue? Purdue hasn't played High Point in like 15 years. No one on High Point has played against Purdue, to my knowledge. Even if you get Clemson or McNeese in the second round, not a ton of familiarity there. Been 5 years since you've played Clemson. Been about a decade since you played McNeese. Dusty May in Michigan got Purdue for a third time. Brad Underwood, Mike Woodson, Tom Izzo, Greg Gard. Those guys all know Purdue really, really well. They know what Purdue wants to do. The tape is out there. You can see what Purdue tries to do defensively and where its weaknesses are. It's not going to get back to what it was in January, I don't think. That would be a pretty remarkable roller coaster ride of a season for Purdue on the defensive end. But what if you get 3 more stops a game? What if you get 4 more stops a game? What if you can take a charge somewhere? What if you can find a way to force a couple bad passes? That might be the difference between winning and losing, because nothing, absolutely nothing, comes easy in these 5-12, 4-13 pods where you're going to have a difficult game if you win, regardless of who wins the other one. You're going to have a difficult game in the first round if you're Purdue, and whether it's McNeese or Clemson, if Purdue advances, you're going to have another difficult game in the second round. It's 2 tough games, no matter how the chips fall. But that means they're likely to be close. And if you can force a couple extra turnovers, if you can create a couple stops somewhere and be efficient on offense, you're in the Sweet 16. And that changes the entire dynamic about all of this. A real positive here is that you have two really big-time players. And you know the old saying, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. And in college basketball, it doesn't get any more big-time than the NCAA tournament. I don't know if it gets any more big-time than the NCAA tournament across the sport of basketball. You have two guys who might be, maybe, the two best players in the entire Midwest region. Look at the other teams. Who's better than Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn? You can make some arguments out there, but you can make an argument that Purdue has the two best players in the region. That's a nice place to start. And it's been a rough couple games for Braden Smith shooting. He didn't shoot well in either Big Ten tournament game. He did not shoot particularly well at Illinois. Maybe he's due, and maybe he can get on a little Carson Edwards type run. Now, that's a big thing to say. I'm not saying he's dropping 40, but maybe he can get on a little run because he's that type of player who can heat up quick. It sounds like for Purdue, Fletcher Lawyer will be good to go. He slammed his elbow against Michigan. No bone damage or anything. That's a good thing. He was great against USC, not so great against Michigan, but Purdue wasn't really great against Michigan anyways. Purdue needs him out there. Purdue needs him playing at a high level. You have seen some nice things from your role players. You know, Miles Colvin, Camden Heide, Jakari Harris. They made some plays for you in the Big Ten tournament. It's all you can ask for, man. You're not guaranteed to get much out of them. It's a big ask to get a ton out of them. But, man, if you can get open threes, if you can get Jakari Harris getting out in transition and hitting those layups, every little thing matters so much. And it matters even more if you can back it up on the defensive end with a couple more stops here and there. That's what it takes. It's not going to be Purdue coming out and just completely locking down on defense. That's not what's going to happen here. Purdue probably needs to get to 80 points. That's kind of your magic number here because as you look at what Purdue's done, when it's got to 80, it's been all right. It's lost 2 games all year where it got to 80. A lot of points to score, but if you can get there, great. If you can get to 75, you probably feel pretty good about it. You get in some of these low tempo games though, and you miss some shots and you get pretty worried. High Point plays at a pretty slow tempo too. It's not trying to race the ball up and down the court. It's a little quicker than Purdue, but not by a whole lot. So, you know, you're likely to be in a game here where there's a lot of scoring because High Point's a really good offensive team. They're very efficient on offense. They shoot really well from 3. This is a big-time three-point shooting matchup. High Point at over 36%. Purdue's over 38%. High Point's 12th in KenPom in effective field goal percentage. Purdue is 16th. This is a pretty big-time offensive matchup. Every basket's going to matter. Purdue's going to have to be really good on offense in this game. Now, High Point's not great defensively. Outside the top 200 in defensive efficiency, they don't force turnovers particularly well. They send teams to the free throw line a lot. They don't defend inside the arc at a great clip. They don't block shots. They don't force steals. Teams get off a lot of threes on them. There are some things here that if you're Purdue, you really like about this matchup. This is not a 13 seed that absolutely scares the life out of you, but it is one you have to respect. You don't go 29-5 by being a bad team. They've done some really good things. They haven't lost since January 16th. Now, they haven't played a particularly strong strength of schedule here. Only one game inside the top 100 of KenPom. There are nobody from their schedule played in a power conference. Just one game in quad 2. Every other game for them was a quad 2, quad 3, quad 4, or non-D1 games. I mean, it's not not like this team has proven it against some big strength of schedule. Like I've watched too much Missouri Valley basketball. To lose to Missouri State's a rough one. That team was horrible. But clearly, this team's pretty respectable. The offensive end is what scares you, because what you can't let happen in this game is it to turn into another Wisconsin game where you have a stretch of 3 minutes where you go scoreless and the game flips on you to the point where you're out of it. You have to be able to get stops. You have to be able to get rebounds, high point rebounds at an all right clip on the offensive glass. It doesn't turn the ball over very much. Purdue's going to have to be pretty sound defensively. And it's always possible here that Purdue just gets on a heater and outscores everybody. But I don't know that that's what you want to bank on here. As we all know, crazy things happen in this tournament. And you're going to be in Providence, Rhode Island, where there won't be a ton of Purdue fans, I'm sure. And Purdue fans know how this goes. If you get down, if it gets tense, everyone in there is going to be rooting for High Point. You don't want to get to that point. You want to have control of it so you don't have to deal with that. In general here, this is in the Midwest region. You're going out to Providence for the first games, which frankly isn't the end of the world, because I don't know what kind of fan base High Point has, but it's not exactly close to North Carolina. I know that Clemson fans are in South Carolina and probably aren't the biggest travelers for basketball. McNeese, no idea. The big game in the other side is Arkansas and Kansas. So it's not like those are rival schools of Purdue. It is what it is. It's not bad. You get St. John's in that late night game, but I don't know how many Johnny's fans will be there early on. So that part's fine. Obviously, if you can get to the second weekend and play in Indianapolis, that's quite the advantage. Now that's going to be at Lucas Oil Stadium rather than Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So it is not a situation where you are going to have a court where you've played 3 games this year like you would at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But that'd be great to have that type of home crowd advantage there as you try to pull an upset. But, in terms of High Point, we've been over it. Clemson or McNeese, I think Clemson's going to win that game. I'd be pretty surprised if McNeese won. Clemson could give you problems. Absolutely could. ACC's not great this year, but 27-6, 18-2. Pretty good. It's pretty good. They defend well. Another team that plays slower than molasses. They're especially defensively. They really grind you out. They don't foul. That'd be a tough game, but when you're in a 4-5 spot, you're going to have a tough game. It doesn't work like that where you're just going to get a pushover. So I think if you're Purdue, you like it. I think you like where you're at here. Houston might be the 1 seed that I'd most want to see, and that is, it's a stretch no matter who you pick from that group, but I don't know that Houston is as overwhelming as the other 1 seeds. It's really good defensively, but it's not as good on offense. And if you get hot, and maybe you just ride the wave. Gonzaga would be tough too, right? That'd be Gonzaga. Yeah, Gonzaga could beat Houston in that second round. On the other side, Tennessee, it'd be cinema if Purdue and Tennessee somehow played in the Elite Eight again. It's not going to happen, but that would be hilarious. Not a bad draw, though. For where folks thought Purdue might be going into the selection show, myself included, half expecting Purdue to be on the 5 line, to be on the 4 line, Midwest region, playing in Providence, the draw you have, it could have been a heck of a lot worse here. It really could have been. This episode is brought to you by me. Yes, me. When I'm not watching sports, or more accurately, talking about them, I'm talking insurance with the people of Indiana. As an agent with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, I want to help you protect what you've worked hard to achieve. From home and auto to life and business insurance, I'm here to help you. Give me a call at 317-846-5861 or email me, jordan.jones@infarmbureau.com, and let's protect you from life's everyday risks. Big picture here in general, NCAA tournament, I think it's going to be a bad week or two for the Big Ten. I do not have a particularly good feeling about the path for some of these Big Ten schools. I would want no part of BYU or VCU if I'm Wisconsin. That one feels terrifying. It's weird looking at the bracket and seeing Oregon and UCLA as Big Ten schools. I got to say, that wasn't on my mind when I was planning this segment, now that I have a bracket in front of me. Liberty's really well coached, though. Richie McKee or whatever does a really nice job there. Michigan, UC San Diego is a nightmare. That is an absolute nightmare. UC San Diego is really good. Michigan has won a million close games, and it's like you're playing Russian roulette at this point if you're Michigan. Maybe they can keep riding the wave. I don't know. I keep waiting for Michigan State's three-point shooting to catch up with it. I just don't know that a team that's that questionable on offense can make the run that it wants to. Maybe I'm wrong. They've proved me wrong every step of the way. We'll find out. Maryland gets my boy Bryce Drew in Grand Canyon. Maryland's built to make a little run here, but Florida's quite the buzzsaw. Maryland also has no bench, and when you get into these tournament settings, like this is something to watch for Purdue too. Officiating you're unfamiliar with, you can't afford to be in foul trouble. And for Purdue, it just cannot be in foul trouble. You see it in these Big Ten tournament games where Purdue tries to steal a couple minutes with Will Berg, or in the Illinois game where it tries to steal a couple minutes from Raleigh Burgess. If you've got to steal more than 90 seconds, you're teetering and on real disaster territory. Purdue can't afford to be in foul trouble. I think could be a bad couple weeks for the Big Ten here. I would be very surprised if the Big Ten sent a team to the Final Four. I would be mildly surprised if the Big Ten sent a team to the Elite Eight. There's been all the controversy about the way the bubble shook out yesterday during the selection show. For starters, I have a very strong stance that I will never feel bad for power conference teams on the bubble that didn't get in. It is quite something that they cited an injury from December as to why West Virginia didn't get in. North Carolina's resume is laughably bad. I don't get it, but there's no room for sympathy here. I don't feel bad for any of these teams. None of them actually deserve to be in. None of them have a snowball's chance in hell at winning a national title. So I don't really feel bad about them not being included here. How bad does the bubble have to be for that UNC team to get in? And I get it. The Bubba Cunningham thing, I don't know what to make of it. I do fully understand that he's not a part of the conversation. Everyone knows he's there. I don't have a strong opinion here. I don't really care who's on the selection committee. This job, it's not that hard of a job. I love bracketology, but there's a reason a lot of guys can figure out with a pretty good degree of certainty what it's going to be before the tournament's announced. Probably the best is Delphi Bracketology. They're one of the best every single year. They're high school kids, man. They're kind of better at this than the selection committee is. It's just fascinating. But no, there's no room to be sympathetic here. There are so many teams in this thing. The teams I'll feel bad for are the mid-majors. There weren't really a ton of them this year. There weren't bid stealer situations, which made the bubble a little bit worse. That's something that can help, is if there are a bunch of bid stealers, it makes better teams be your last four in. I really wish that we could move to a format where it's like all 4 11 seed games that go to Dayton, and that all of those 16 seed auto bids get their chance to play on Thursday, Friday of the NCAA tournament. I really wish that. I know that they get a share if they win the 16 seed game, so they would rather go to Dayton to try to get a share because that's big time money for those athletic departments normally. But just as a fan, it'd be pretty cool if we didn't have to get two 16 seeds bounced before Thursday at noon. Speaking of getting bounced, can we get rid of these postseason tournaments? College basketball is in a bit of a predicament here. If it actually wants the NIT and the crown to be remotely relevant. Like you see, half these teams are denying it. Indiana denied it. Northwestern denied it. And you know what? That's the smart move. Don't go deal with that. Sit out, get started in the portal on Monday, and go put yourself in a position to be in the tournament next year. Nobody cares if you're in a power conference and win the NIT. It's cool for mid-majors who are getting the chance to win something. Like I remember when Valparaiso made a run in 2016 to the NIT championship game, or being around Indianapolis last year when Indiana State did it, when that was at Butler for the championship game, and there were a lot of people really excited about that. It's cool for them. It's not cool for Big Ten teams, for ACC teams to go play in these low-rent tournaments. It's just not. I know the NIT has a great history, and I know I'm in the complete wrong age group to appreciate it, but my goodness, they don't serve a purpose anymore. They really don't, especially in the portal era where your roster is probably going to change over quite a bit if you didn't make the tournament. There's just no point here. I wanted to close here with a question we got, a really good one here about Purdue's offense from a longtime listener talking about, I'm not going to read it word for word because it's pretty long, but about how Purdue is so ball screen heavy on offense and how teams have started to design a defense around it. Talking about how it feels like Braden Smith is dribbling for 10, 15 seconds on the clock until Trey Kaufman comes up for a screen and then you go. Additionally, talking about Purdue getting beat backdoor a lot defensively. Yeah, one of the interesting things to me has been watching PJ Thompson really move Purdue's offense to a ball screen. I don't want to say ball screen only because it sometimes runs some quick hitters, but it's a very ball screen dependent offense, and that's so far from what Purdue was 5-6 years ago when Purdue was almost completely motion based. You can make an argument that it's been good. You can make an argument that it's been bad. I mean, last year, Purdue did this and was 4th nationally in offensive efficiency. This year, Purdue is 7th. This is a really, really good offense that Purdue runs. It's very effective. And in theory, you should be getting pretty good looks on every play because you're just reacting to the defense. And it's really hard to stop that with how much you have to respect Braden Smith coming off the dribble, how much you have to respect Trey Kaufman-Renn rolling to the rim, what he can do in the short post. In theory, it works well, and the results tell you it does too. There are times, though, where it feels like it's stagnant. There are times where it feels like there needs to be a bolt of energy. It's going to be interesting to see moving forward what Purdue does there. Defensively, look, these problems I don't know can be solved. The problem with guys getting back cut and being beat at the rim, you don't have tremendous defenders out on the wing, just a flaw of this year's team, and you don't have rim protection. So if you're not getting a ton of pressure out on the perimeter and you're not the most quick, you're able to get beaten back door and you have no rim protection to help you cover the back door, you're going to have problems, and that's where Purdue's been at a little bit. Now, again, I think you can be a little bit better. I think you can get to a spot where you're getting beat a little bit less, but these flaws are going to exist. They're not just going to magically go away. It's too limited of a personnel roster for that to go away. Schematic differences moving forward, That's stuff I'm going to talk about here after the season, because that's stuff I'm really fascinated to see how Purdue implements moving forward. I don't have all the answers. Far from it. I sell insurance. I don't coach basketball. But it's been interesting to see that evolution of Purdue's offense over time. Guys, it's a great week. This is going to be a lot of fun. I have no idea what to expect from Purdue. If you told me Purdue really played above its head and got to the Elite Eight, I wouldn't be totally shocked. And if you told me that this game goes kind of like North Texas did a couple years ago, where it felt like North Texas was in command of that 4-13 game the entire time, I wouldn't be all that surprised either. There's a pretty wide variety of outcomes here, and I know no matter what, this is going to define the season. That's what happens in this sport. Prepare yourselves. If you are one who gets angry easily online, prepare yourself, because the takes that come from this are unlike anything else. It is the greatest spectator event in the world. It is the greatest television event in the world. It's a better television event than it is an in-person event by a mile. And how much can you really say that about? There aren't that many sporting events that you can say that about, but this absolutely is one. It is two of the best days of the year, the most drama, the most chaos, the most heartbreak, and also the most random outcomes. It is a cruel, cruel way to crown a champion. We will see how things shake out. As I said, come join the bracket group, Boilers and Beyond listeners, on ESPN Tournament Challenge. It should be unlocked, should work. I'm going to throw the link to that in the episode description here. But if you don't already, follow the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. Send me in some questions. Start sending them in after the game, because I'll be coming to you soon after the Purdue game ends, whether it's late Thursday night, mid Thursday day, we'll see. But I'll be coming back to you then. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Enjoy the game, guys. Enjoy the tournament, and we'll talk to you in a couple days. Take care.